Hi, my name's Gary and welcome to this video looking at DiFix from Sound Device Digital. When I first saw this released, I was quite pleased to see it. I thought, well, if nothing else, it's a very public acknowledgement that not every interface input is made equal. And I know this from bitter experience, having used several interfaces over the years and found differing results with each one and disappointment with plenty. The question is, does it do what they say it does? Does it turn your bass or guitar input into a proper sort of DI sound? Not 100% convinced. It does do some things, and it does have some nice little bonuses about it, but it's not quite there yet for me. If we look at the plugin doctor and see, get an idea what it does, so we can see there's a bit of a tweak of the EQ, not by much. There's a bit of EQ going on. There's some harmonics being added, and there's also some compression going on. If we look at the ramp there, we can see just a bit of gentle compression, softish sort of knee going on there. So all that's kind of nice, yeah, but does it sound like a DI box? So in my experience, when I've used a proper DI box on guitar, what it's introduced for me is more fullness to the sound, more richness, more depth, more low mids and bass and that type of thing, and removed the scratchiness that you tend to get from the higher strings of guitar. So I was kind of expecting that to be the case with this here. If I play a little bit of this bass loop, so this is just straight through with nothing on it. So it's nice and cleanly recorded. And if we then do the same thing and use the DiFix, so more or less level match this and the intensity cranked up to hear what it does, if anything. And let's try that. So what I'm hearing there is a bit of a roll-off, if anything, of the lower end. Certainly the low mids seems to be falling off somewhat, and I'm hearing more of the pronounced high end. For example, the finger scrapes on the strings become more prominent. If I play that again and switch it in and out, so you know what you're listening for. So it's kind of a gentle enhancement, possibly more so for the sake of those few harmonics and that tiny little bit of compression, but it's not doing what I'd expect a DI box to do. So if we carry that idea forward, so what I've done, I've got a bit of guitar here. This is the same guitar, playing the same riff. One's going in through my Audient interface, which has a dedicated proper instrument input, which works exceptionally well, and the other one's going into my Steinberg interface, which to me is a little bit lacking. The difference is quite subtle. I used a Les Paul style guitar with Gibson pickups, so should be quite a full fat sound coming in the first place. Perhaps I should have used a Stratocaster to make it slightly more obvious. But you should hear, if I flip between these, you should hear the difference where the Steinberg one lacks depth. It certainly lacks a certain fullness, not a compression, but there's like a fullness and upfrontness about it. and it's also quite scratchy on the higher strings. So that's what we're listening for, the difference in these. So you can hear there's a certain amount of scratchiness in there. Let's set this loop so that loops around, and let's switch between the two. So switching to the audience. Back to the Steinberg. So on the Steinberg, if we look at putting the DiFix on there, so let's pop that on its own. Same thing, crank should be level matched, and see what that does for us. So if anything, it's bringing up that scratchiness. Again, a slight enhancement, largely because of the additional harmonics and that little bit of gentle compression. So it's like, well, is that really useful or not then? Is it worth a punt? I mean, I would hope that a future release of this, an upgrade, a version 2, would see the addition of a tone control circuit to actually warm everything up, or certainly the option to warm everything up. But it doesn't stop there, because it gets slightly more interesting. If you go to the Plugin Alliance website, you can download this absolutely free, the Niveau filter from Elysia, which is essentially a tilt EQ. So if we were to put a tilt EQ onto this guitar to remove some of that scratchiness, let's try that. So that's more the sort of sound I'd expect to hear coming out of a DI. Take it off. And we get that scratchiness back again. And then with the compression, if we just bring up a stock compressor, go in, say, around 4:1, 6:1, something like that, super long release, attack 5 or 6 milliseconds usually works quite well, and a good healthy portion of compression. So you see there's a lot of compression going on there. So that's just compressed. But if we bring the original signal back in to bring the transients back, maybe something like that. So that's without. And all the while, we've got DiFix on the end of the chain, which we can now put in. Turn it down so there's no level gain. So that's now actually giving quite a nice, a little bit of enhancement to what's going on. So my findings really are, yes, it has a use, but its usefulness depends really upon the quality of the signal that's been fed into it. And it's sort of being marketed as a solution to repairing a poor quality signal, which I don't think it really does. But I do think it works for enhancing a decent quality signal if you either have one to start with or create one by using simple stock plugins just to boost things out and improve things generally before adding this after that. We can do the same thing now, compare this to the audience. So this is just on a DI. So that's certainly on a par as a nice DI signal to work with. But maybe throw it into a clean amp. So let's put the audience on first. And then switch to our DiFix. Take the DiFix off. There you have it. This pays your money and takes your chance. Decide whether or not that's useful to you, whether it works in your workflow or not, and see what you think. I do believe that you can get a demo of this to try out and see how it works out for you. If you found this video useful, then please like and subscribe to see more. And until then, good luck with your productions, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best. Bye-bye.